Hello everyone, I'm Dina and I'm back again with part 2. And part 2 is how am I part 2. And part 2 is going to discuss how to solve these sort of questions using factorization, how to simplify a single fraction using factorization. It is super easy. I'm just going to solve several questions related to this part over here. Now, if you are using my resources, please open classified part 1 to page number 27. Classified part 1 to page number 7. Now let's look at this question over here, which is question number 2, and the question says simplify. Please يا جماعة والنبي بلاش الحركة دي. يعني ما ينفعش. I can never cancel out common items in a fraction unless I have items multiplied up and items multiplied down. I can never cancel out items in one fraction unless I have items multiplied up and multiplied down. And remember that factorization means that we change an expression into items that are multiplied. Now, this video is going to be an application on factorization. Application on factorization. How do I simplify these fractions using factorization? Okay, now let me just remind you, in part 1, we discussed the factorization types. Okay, we started up with highest common factor, وقلنا the highest common factor هو أساس الفactorization. يعني whenever a question whenever a question says factorize, you always need to think about highest common factor. Then moving up to the dots, which is the difference of two squares, quadratic trinomial, which we did it with the calculator, and then I'm going to use another color for the DF questions, or what we call the double factorization. Now, how do I use factorization to solve these two questions? And as I always say initially in algebra, اللي مش عاجبك خبيه. اللي مش عاجبك خبيه. What you don't like, hide. يعني إيه اللي مش عاجبك خبيه؟ يعني by looking at this fraction over here, let's just, and let me use my magic trick, let's pretend that this trinomial does not exist. If this trinomial does not exist, then what can I do in this expression? If this trinomial does not exist, what can I do over here? طبعا هنا I can factorize. طيب, let's think بنفس الترتيب ده. Can I take highest common factor هنا? لا. Is this difference of two squares? Yes. Why? Because I have a different sign. I have two items. And these two items are squared items, meaning I can find the square root of each. Factorization of dots are two brackets that are almost the same. One positive, one negative. X power 2 changes into X and X. Square root 25 changes into 5 and 5. That's it. يبقى فوق احنا تعاملنا معاها على أساس إن هي مسألة dots. يبقى أنا إيه اللي أنا خدته جديد؟ ولا أي حاجة. I factorized up. طيب. دلوقتي هخبي اللي فوق. Now, I will pretend that this does not exist. Okay? And then I will factorize the denominator. I will factorize the denominator. Now, how do I factorize the denominator? Again يا جماعة دايما خليكوا انتوا organized وانتوا بتفكروا. فكروا بنفس الترتيب ده. يعني think بنفس الترتيب كده عشان ما تتوهوش وتتلخبطوا. أول حاجة تفكروا فيها, the first thing that you think about is, can I take highest common factor هنا? No. لأنه ما فيش حاجة common في الثلاثة. ما حدش يقول لي يا ميس ينفع أخد الأكس. لا. To be able to take a common factor, it has to exist in all three. طيب يبقى هنا HCF out. The difference of two squares? No, those 3 items. So this is a quadratic trinomial. Quadratic trinomial, if you remember on your calculator, mode equation 3. So this automatically will change into 2 brackets. And when you do mode equation 3, مش لازم نعمل فضيحة حوالينا ونقعد نكتب بقى في الامتحان ABC والكلام ده كله. يعني كل اللي أنا هعمله ده هنا بالأخضر ده ما يكتبش في الامتحان. Now the A is equal to 2, the B is -9, the C is -5. We insert them on the calculators. On the calculator, 2 equals -9 equals -5. I have 2 x values, x1 which is 5, x2 and then press equal again, which is -0.5. These are the numbers that will be placed inside these brackets. Now if you remember we said change sign. طبعا x1 دي هتنزل as small x, +5 هتدخل as -5, and then خليني اكتب دي تحتها هنا اهو x2 is -0.5. okay, بفكركم تاني. How do I insert a fraction on the calculator? The denominator goes here, فدي هتبقى هنا 2x والنيومينيتور هيتحط فوق. negative قلنا we always change sign into positive. اهو خلاص. طب همسح بقى كل ده لان ده المفروض ما يتكتبش. all of this you don't write in the exam. خلاص. So what did we do over here يا حبايبي? We just factorized up and we factorized down. After we did that, am I allowed to cancel out common items? Definitely. Why? Because I have 2 brackets multiplied up. I have 2 brackets multiplied down. What do? Identify the common brackets. يعني مين موجود فوق في زيه تحت. هنا أنا عندي أهو البراكت ده موجود فوق وتحت. I can cancel these 2 brackets together, and what remains is x plus 5 over 2x plus 1. That's it. ما حدش بقى يجي يعمل يشيل x دي مع الx دي، غلط. يبقى احنا ايه الجديد بقى اللي عملناه في الأسئلة دي؟ ولا أي حاجة. And these are the steps اهو that you have to show in your exam. Factorize up, factorize down, and then you will have common items. These common brackets you cancel together. Let's solve some examples related to this part over here. Let's move on to this question in the same page 27. Yeah. So, as we said, identify the type of factorization. First thing, do I have highest common factor? No. ده اهو زي ما انا بفكر فكروا زيي. Do I have highest common factor? لا. Is this difference of 2 squares? Is this dots? Yes. Why is it dots? Because I have 2 items. These 2 items I can square root and there is a minus sign in between. How do I factorize dots? قلنا factorizing of dots are 2 brackets that are almost the same. ودايما زي ما قلت لكم يا جماعه في الماث بنشتغل من الشمال لليمين from left to right. Square root 9 3 and 3, x power 2 x and x, square root 4 2 and 2, 1 plus 1 minus. لو غيرتهم يعني لو عملت دي هنا الماينس ودي هنا البلس برضه صح ما فيش اي مشكله. So as we said, factorize up and then factorize down. اهو انا جالي حاجه زي كده افكر ازاي؟ First thing, can I take HCF? No. Is this dots? اكيد لا طبعا اللي باينه ان هي 3. So this is a quadratic trinomial. يبقى المساله دي فوق dots اللي هو difference of 2 squares وتحت التراينوميال اللي هو الكالكوليتر. اهو طبعا دي هتتقسم 2 brackets على طول. طيب على الكالكوليتر بقى انا مش هقعد اكتب بقى كده، هنعملها على طول. ال A is 3 equals ال B is -17, and please remember that you must insert the signs. ال C is +10. Press equal. The first number x1 is 5 and the second is 2 over 3. اهو. طيب these as we said will be placed inside the brackets. تمام كده؟ Remember that always we must change signs. x1 هنكتبها small x, +5 هتنزل as -5, x2 هكتبها small x. How do I insert the fraction؟ دي هنا فهتبقى 3x كده، وقلنا النيومينيتور فوق. This is a positive fraction, I changed to negative. طيب what if someone else decided to shuffle؟ يعني حد قرر ان هو يحط هنا ال 2 على 3 ويحط هنا ال 5. It's so okay, you can do that. And this is your working out. The final answer is identifying the common items. Do I have a bracket that is repeated up and down? Yes, I do. So what do I do? Cancel out these two brackets and write the final answer, which is the remaining bracket in the numerator, the remaining bracket in the denominator. And this is another example. Now let's try and move on to questions that have double factorization, such as this question over here. هتلاقوا بقى ايه؟ عشان بس انتوا لازم تبقوا فاهمين. هتلاقوا انه the question here says simplify fully, or it could say simplify completely, while the question here says simplify only. الحاجات الصغيرة دي هي اللي ممكن تخليني أفرق ما بين المسائل بتاعة الفاكتورايزيشن العادية والمسائل اللي ممكن يكون فيها double factorization. So again, I want you to look at the difference between the questions. The first question says simplify fully. The word fully might be, تاني بأكد, might be an indication of double factorization. Okay? While simplify means ان انا I don't need to factorize twice. بس ده برضو might. فانا اخد بالي من الحاجات الصغيرة دي. Now اهو تاني هكتبها تاني اهو عشان بس ما حدش يقول لي يا مس انا بتوه. First think highest common factor. Then dots. Then trinomial. And always have in mind the double factorization. يعني double factorization دايما حطوها هنا كده in mind. So I'm just going to zoom in لأنه this is an important question بالنسبة لي. اللي مش عاجبك خبيه، هنخبي اللي تحت دلوقتي عشان I want you to really focus on the numerator اللي هو ده اللي فوق. في حد يقول لي بس يا مس بصي دي شكلها كده يجيب difference of two squares بس ال 50 doesn't have a square root. Some of you might actually think إنه this looks like difference of two squares, but if you look carefully, you will find that 50 doesn't have a square root. So this is why you must always and forever think highest common factor first. So this numerator has two steps to be factorized. First, let's take the highest common factor. Okay, فأنا هشتغلها كأنها HCF question. So 50 and 8, the highest common factor is 2. And then you factorize normally 25x power 2 minus 4. أهو. So this is the highest common factor step. Because there is this word fully, so there is a chance of double factorization. And because whenever we solve a mathematical question, we don't just do it and run away, you have to take a moment and look. And if you take a moment and look, you will find that the highlighted yellow can be still factorized into difference of two squares. يبقى the highlighted yellow is dots. فدلوقتي بقى همسك البراكت ده واعمل له factorization. طبعا خلاص بقى احنا قلنا دوت كذا مره. Square root 25 is 5 and 5. X power 2 is x and x. Square root 4 is 2 and 2. One bracket is plus, one bracket is minus. Now, when you write the answer of the factorization, يعني مثلا لو ده هنا بقى الفاينل answer بتاع الفactorization اللي فوق, you must include the 2, which is your highest common factor. So the answer of the numerator is the 2 and the 2 brackets. يبقى I must write all 3 items. This question is very important. Now I'll move on to the denominator. وزي ما اتفقنا, you always think highest common factor first. Now, how will you be able to identify the questions? You will be able to identify the questions by practice. الحل كتير هو اللي هيخليكم تقدروا تحددوا دي HCF دي مش عارفة ايه دي ايه دي ايه. So this is highest common factor. Until you actually master that, you have to do it with the same order that I've been telling you. So let's just factorize this here immediately. 10x minus 4, طبعا the highest common factor again is 2. And then you open the bracket, divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and the x remains as it is. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Identify common items. 5x minus 2 هنا, 5x minus 2 هنا. These two can be cancelled together. And what else? Yes, the 2. ال 2 برضو ممكن إن أنا أكنسلها لأنه زي ما اتفقنا all of these items are multiplied. So if you have any item that is common up and down, then you cancel. So the final answer over here, احنا هنشيل بقى ده مع ده وهنشيل دي مع دي, هيتبقى لي 5x plus 2. That's it. So again, let's summarize this again. I factorized up. Initially, I took highest common factor, and then I divided each term by 2, فبقى 25x power 2 minus 4. Then I factorized this bracket using the dots procedure, 5x plus 2, 5x minus 2. And then with the denominator, we only have highest common factor. So I took 2 common and I factorized. I found out that the 2 is repeated up and down, so I was able to cancel it. And then the 5x minus 2 was as well repeated up and down, so I was able to cancel it as well. Now let's go more and see if we have more complicated examples. Actually, لا خلاص, we just have this, and then we have this. So basically, I guess that what you can do is that you can practice the rest of your questions on your own. I think I gave you the idea on how to simplify algebraic fractions like these. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you in the next videos. Goodbye.